In PySpark interviews, one topic decides whether you are a beginner or a real Spark engineer. That is transformations and action. Hey, my name is Shikha. Welcome to Crack Data Engineering. Today, I will explain what are transformations and what are actions, type of transformations, partitions, and most important interview questions. So, in an interview, they don't ask what is transformations or what are actions. They will ask, hey, I will write 20 lines of code. How many Spark jobs will run? What's your answer? So, the most candidate starts counting lines or lines of codes. But Spark don't care about lines. Spark care about actions. This is a sales data frame with columns order ID, order date, customer ID, product category, quantity, price, country. So basically, this data represents the customer's order across different countries and categories. So today I am applying condition based on some condition and group by on category. So I'm removing this show and count because these are actions. First, we will understand transformations. So up to this point, what happened? Spark will read the data and it only create a DAG, which is nothing but that directed acyclic graph. No execution happens, no computation has done till now because filter and group by are transformations. Now, after applying action like count and df2 dot show, so here count and show are actions. So what happened now? Spark will execute the code line by line. First, it filtering the data, create a data frame one, and from data frame one, it will create a it will give fetch the data mm, category wise, count it, and give you the result. Now let's understand each line one by one. First, understand this. Here, I'm filtering the data where price is greater than 100. Internally, Spark will go row by row. Internally, Spark will go row by row, check the condition where price is greater than 100, and keep only those rows which satisfy the condition. After filtering our data frame will look like this. This is our data frame 1, where butter's price is 120, cheese price is 200, and cake price is 300. All the product with price less than 100 or equal to 100 are removed. Now come to the most important concept. When I use group by category, Spark needs to bring all same category value together. So in a data frame, we have two type of category, dairy, bakery. So Spark will keeps bakery record together and dairy record together. One most common mistake beginners make is thinking that group by gives output directly. No, it does not give output directly. Group by returns group data object, not a data frame. That's why we must use an aggregation function. So always use aggregation function after category after group by. So what happened here? Spark will shuffle the data by category, apply aggregation, and produce a final output. In final output, we will have bakery count is 1 and dairy count is 2, which means from data frame 1, like this is our data frame 1, we will group by on data frame 1 only. So how many counts of dairy is there? 2 count and bakery have 1 count. So that is our output. Now let's understand that diagram. This is our code. I'm applying filter and group by transformations. So up to group by transformation, what happened? That is created by Spark. So Spark reads the CSV file, filter the data amount greater than 1000, group by category, and count. This is the DAG created. DAG creation happens during the transformations. Execution happens during the action. So before action, only transformations happen. So DAG happens during the transformations. Spark has created a DAG. It knows what to do, but it hasn't started the execution yet. DAG after action. Now, this is the DAG diagram after action. Job created, stage 1, stage 2. In stage 1, it's filtering the task, it does the task, and in stage 2, it shuffles the data by group using groupBy. So, what are transformations? A transformation is an operation that defines what to do with the data, but Spark does not execute it immediately. What are actions? An action tells Spark, now execute everything. Let's take a real life example. Suppose we are using our Google Map and we add stops, change route, avoid tolls. These are our instructions for the Google Map. Until unless we start navigate, it will not start the car and start navigation. So transformation is route planning and actions are start navigations. There are more examples, real life examples like planning whatever you are planning and writing steps of anything and some blueprints of any construction. And these are actions like cooking food, running machine, or rocket launchings. So these are some real life examples of transformations and actions. Narrow transformations. Each output partition depends on one input partition. It's like working alone on your own notebook. Imagine every partition is a student doing the narrow transformation. Each student works alone in their own notebook page. They don't need to answer from other students. It means that each partition run on own executor, no shuffling, no data movement across the partitions. Wide transformations. Output depend on multiple input partitions, like student exchanging their notebooks. It is messy and slow. Wide transformations are grouped by, join, distinct. So what do you think? Transformations executed immediately? No, because Spark uses lazy evaluation. So as we know, filter is a narrow transformation. What happened during filter? In this query, filter the price which is greater than 100. Filter does not change the number of partition. Why? Because filter is a narrow transition. Each partition works independently. Before filter, after filter. Each partition works independently. So there is no shuffling between the partitions. That's why narrow transformations are good, are better than the wide transformations. Narrow transformation preserves the partition count. What happened during the group by? Group by needs all same category together. So this means that data from multiple partitions and must be rearranged and shuffling happen. Now partitions are created after shuffle. These partitions are created after shuffling the data. So here we learned that wide transformations create new partition during the shuffling. Now come to the partitions. How partitions formed in Spark? So partitions formed in Spark at read time. How Spark decides partition while reading CSV? So Spark checks first file size, file format, and then maximum partition bytes. Then it partitions the file in some size. By default, it's 128 MB. So you can say that each partition roughly corresponds to one file block. Now Spark has three partitions before any transitions. It's P1, P2, P3. P1 is of 128 MB, P2 is of 128 MB, and remaining memory is of P3's remaining partition is of remaining 44 MB. What about show? Does it create partitions? Show does not create partitions. It only triggers the execution, uses existing partitions, and collects small result to the driver. So action don't change partitions. They execute the DAG. Now there are some interview questions like: are transformations executed immediately? No, because Spark uses lazy evaluation. So transformations are not executed immediately. They form a DAG and, transformations are like instructions, so they form a DAG only. Which is more expensive, narrow or wide transformations? So wide transformations are more expensive because of number of partitions. Why? Because data move across the network and partitions happens and shuffling the data from one partition to another and creating the new partitions. So that's why why transformations are more expensive. Does every action creates a Spark job? Yes, every Spark job creates the every action creates the Spark job. For example, this is in this code we have select count and select show. We have filter. These are the transaction. These are transformation. Select is transformation. Count and show is action. So how many jobs will this code create? What do you think? So in this code, there are two jobs will be created for count and show. Why is collect dangerous? Collect is dangerous because it brings all the data to the driver memory. Can transformation fails? No. Transformations never fail because execution hasn't started. Why are group by and joins transformations not action? Group by and joins are transformations but not action. Why? So group by and joins are transformations because they define how data should be grouped or joined, but they do not trigger execution. Sparks only execute when action is called. If group by shuffles the data, if group by causes shuffling, yeah, group by causes shuffling, why it is still the transformation? Okay, shuffling is a data movement, not a execution. So execution starts only when the action is called. That's why group by is not an action; it's a transformation. If you understand this concept deeply, you're already thinking like a data engineer. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who is preparing for data engineering interview.